Welcome back. It is spring on the farm and we are busy doing all of the projects. If you've been here over the last month, we have new milk cows, we have meat birds, we have made chicken tractors, we have done all the things. And we are finally building a new pasture on the other side so that we can move our milk cows over there. So we are doing that today. We are getting ready for our big plant sale that is next weekend, and we'll probably plant some flowers and vegetables in our own garden. Hi. So we are gonna go walk to the top of our driveway to look at our sunflower seeds that have sprouted. But Daddy and Big Kid are working on our second big pasture and they're getting it fenced in. So they are pounding T-posts and she's getting some math homework done with finding every so many feet on the tape measure for Josh to map out the T-posts. So that's fun. And the grass is coming in. It's obviously, if you have been around here for a bit, we have this land that we just bought in October and the soil is terrible. So we are rehabbing big time and it looks okay. The grass looks okay right now. The forage and, we seeded this pasture. So we'll just kind of see how it goes and do some really great management, and hopefully in the coming years we will have some really great forage for the cows. We have lots of sunflower seeds and cosmos and zinnias and sweet alyssum and hollyhocks, and I can't even remember what else we planted. We planted so many seeds, but it looks great. So this all is the pasture that's being fenced in. He's doing a great job. Look, there's Minnie and Winnie waiting in the pasture on the other side. So that's actually near our loading corral. So it just makes sense to go right down the driveway and to load cows right there. That's where we put it. So yeah, there's Minnie and Winnie. We've had them for 4 days now. So they're doing so great. So about our fence, we use a poly wire. We use like, trying to remember, I think it's like a 10 or 12 filament, and it uses copper. It's quite powerful. I have zapped myself on that fence a few times, and it'll hurt. And it's done great so far for the cows. So that's what we're gonna stick with. I will link the poly wire that we use below. Hands down, it's some of the best poly wire that we have ever found. It does not slack very easily. Again, it has a lot of metal filament in it, and it is a white, so it is highly visible, which I really like. I do not like the yellow and the black that you would get at like Tractor Supply. I do not like that. So for a poly wire, this is a very highly visible. The more visible option would be like a poly rope. And that's really nice. We also use our poly wire for making the paddocks. So for cross-sectioning our temporary paddocks. So it's on a reel, and we'll put step-in posts throughout the main pastures. So are you ready to go see the progress? Hello, Miss Minnie. You showing everybody your new halter that we put on you? Wrestled you hard for that one. Hi, Winifred, we hear you. So this section is actually going to be one of our gate areas to access from one pasture to another. So we have this here will be poly wire, and this will be the gate. And what the cows will do, will cross over here. They will cross the driveway, and then we are going to make a gate here. And so the cows, thank you, will be able to cross the driveway and access one pasture to another. And ultimately, they will have to enter this pasture to go and get milked, because there will be the milking stanchion with the barn in this pasture.
You have flowers? What are those? Flowers?
So this is our first year with this garden. I had posted a few weeks ago about how we tilled this raw area to add compost and create our first garden here on our farm. And so far things are doing pretty well. We threw about 100 onion starts in the ground, and full disclosure, about 20 of them are remaining. And I, probably stem that up to soil fertility. And honestly, we had just really great luck growing onions in the past, and there really was no rhyme or reason behind it other than we probably just had better soil than what we have here, because truly our soil here is so terrible. And geographically, we did not move very far away, just maybe half an hour down the road. So it's just more like a desert here. And so I'm not surprised that the onions didn't do well, and that's fine. We went ahead and last week we had planted all of our tomatoes and some of our peppers. We already have broccoli and cabbage and the first round of radishes in the garden. The kids have a bunch of stuff started in pots that they found in my garden shed, so they have some lettuce and all sorts of things over there. Today I planted the rest of my peppers. I started some green beans. I made a row of flowers in this garden. It's always nice to get some pollinators in here, especially I'll have a lot of cucumbers in here as well, and cucumbers and squash are requiring a lot of pollination in order to produce fruit. So we did another round of radishes, the beans, the rest of the peppers, and then depending on how the rest of the day goes, I will probably try to get some zucchini and cucumber started, but I want to be really strategic about where I start the cucumbers because I want to trellis them. And I say I planted beans, I planted bush beans. I have pole beans as well, so I want to be careful about where I plant those as well, so I have to trellis them. And I still have a few more beds to make, but we're getting pretty maxed out on this space, which means that we will have to start the garden down in the area where the chickens are right now, and we're going to till that up. We originally thought that maybe we would plant all corn down there, but we may try to strategize with corn, maybe some pole beans. If you haven't looked up the Three Sisters type of method, it's usually corn with like a squash planted near the bottom, like a zucchini, to help shade the roots in the soil of the corn to keep it nice and cool, and then planting pole beans and allowing the pole beans to climb up the corn. So I may do something like that as a really fun experiment, and then in addition I'll probably plant pole beans and zucchini or squash or something somewhere else just in case that doesn't work out. So we're making way. Hopefully I just get a really good tomato and pepper crop this year because those were lacking the last few years with us moving and then me being really pregnant in the summer a few years ago. So yeah, I'm gonna keep y'all updated on this garden, and hopefully my kids are excited to weed and earn a few extra dollars doing that. My 8-year-old is, yeah, I know, she's behind me saying, I am not gonna want to weed. But flowers are always a good incentive, right? Yeah. So it looks like Farmer Josh is making progress. He's getting all of the clips on, and we like to use these clips for all of the straightaways. And then at the corners, we like to use these. So these are like a slider, and it just makes corners easier. There's no true direction other than it facing in. So let's see if we can go find him. Hey bud, how old are you? 6? It's a capable kid right there. We didn't teach him, he just saw us doing it last time we had it out.
I don't know what job I can help you.
So what is it and why?
Just to hook the fence up.
What is it?
I guess insulated wire. And we'll take the hook and hook it in. I don't have one to demonstrate.
So you're stripping
Kind of
it?
a make your own.
Yeah.
This.
So this is from the other pasture, and this is essentially what he is making. This is the gate handle, and this is just a place for it to connect and hook onto. If I can do it one-handed. There. And so we have the 3 gate handles on this pasture. So the goal is to move the girls from this pasture across the driveway and into this pasture. And how we're going to do it is create a new gate system here. Right now there is no gate there. So we'll create a gate system here. We will literally walk them across the driveway and down this lane to this gate system here. And why there is a large space here is because this is also going to be the lane where we will be able to load hay into this pasture. And also, if you can't see, there's that electrical globe there for the power for our buildings. And so we don't want the cows in this area rubbing on that, because if you know cows, you know that they love to scratch and itch on surfaces like trees and electrical globes probably. So this is just going to be an area where we'll be able to back the trailer of hay up into this area. we are on the next morning and we are just finalizing a few things before we move the girls to the other pasture. We had just realized that when we were going to set up the Energizer, we have not even placed any grounding rods. We have them, but we didn't place them yet. So we were like, oh, 5 minutes away from moving the girls into the pasture. And now we've got to go pound grounding rods 6 feet into the ground 2 or 3 times. So we'll get there. So we'll show. This is the clamp that goes around the grounding rod that connects the insulated wire to them. How long were those grounding rods?
6 feet. Yeah, 6 feet.
Yeah, so they're pounded about 6 feet into the ground. There's 3 of them along here. Mm-hmm.
Then we just gotta walk to it.
Might be easier to put the clamp on first.
All right.
There's one.
2 more times. Sweating? Well, it's probably the most humid day of the year so far, I think. Okay, so we moved the water trough over here and have run the hose for that. I have my step-in posts and my reel because I'm not giving them access to this full pasture. We're going to section off some paddocks for them. Right now, with this side being pretty new for grazing and us only having just seeded it once in the late winter, early spring, we are going to probably give them a little bit more space so that they have more grass. But then as soon as we start seeing them grazing a second time over plants that they've already nipped off, then I will probably move them on. So that's just kind of the plan. It's all really flexible right now because we still are just kind of learning as we go along. So let's start setting up the paddock. Alright, Energizer is on. And that's the little housing that we have for it to keep it out of the elements. I have the paddock set up. The cat's out there exploring. You mad about it? The water trough is filling. And they are ready. I tell ya, just when the action is about to happen, the battery dies. So, you missed a great video shot. We cut the fence. We moved them across the driveway to here. Minnie the calf was stubborn, but we did it. So let's go see what they're doing. So what we did was we created a lane, and it stops here at the water trough and it comes all the way up here. So they only have access to the upper pasture over here. And what a cow will do when they're moving to a new pasture is they will go to the furthest point and they will graze their way back this way. And so when we basically start seeing them where the step-in posts are here, that's basically their limit, and then they have the lane here to go to the water. That's when we know it's about time to move them. And it's just the two of them. And honestly, we'll probably just leave them in here overnight. And there's not, I mean, there is a lush area in this shade because the water collects down here in the low spot. So it's quite wet. But we may even fork over some hay over here as well and just feed them in the more barren spots so that the hay seed can drop.
And there she goes.
Boop, boop.
Flip-flop.
Can you watch your brother, please, real quick?
He's walking down towards Daddy.
Okay.
You got it, eat it.